here's what I have. We have the biggest junk that I could find on the left-hand side because the engine's still on break-in, so I need to use conventional oil, and I didn't want to spend too much because I just plan on changing it a couple hundred miles with the filter to go with it. If anybody's curious, that is the part number, if it'll focus, for a SR20 DET filter. I had trouble finding it. Apparently you can use one filter that came in the Sentra SER, because that came with an SR20 in it, but I think it's a lot more shallow, and I didn't really want that. So I just ended up ordering this one from nissanparts.cc. They have a lot of stuff. And then for the transmission fluid, I wanted to go with this because the transmission doesn't shift that smooth to begin with, and I saw a lot of people saying that this is the stuff to change it with. Apparently it helps with gear changes a lot, so that's what we're going to be using for that. One more thing I also want to add on to the Ace motor oil is I used to work at Ace, and I think one day when it was slow, me and some buddies went on our computers and started just messing around, and I think that that is actually just rebottled Pennzoil. So I don't think it's too bad, but it was definitely cheap. So let's get into it. I'm going to start here by just jacking up the car, so that way I can get underneath it. I want to jack it up all even, so I have two jack stands that I think I'm going to put under the front, and I think I'm just going to leave the jack under the back. I have a spare tire that I might just throw under it. I'm sure it'll be fine enough. I don't know though if I'm going to be able to get a jack into the front in front of this car, so I might have to move it around. I don't really know yet. Alright, so one very annoyed update later. I meant to film more than I did, but unfortunately I kind of got a little annoyed with it, so that didn't happen. So your drain bolt is right there, and I already took that off. It's still dripping. And normally, let me see if I can get the camera up there. Sorry about that, I think my camera froze. That up there is your fill plug, and that was seized in place for me. I tried and tried and tried. I was hanging off of it with this huge adjustable here, and that was the biggest wrench I could find, and that still wouldn't crack it. So I ended up having to take apart the whole top of my shifter here. So I went the route with the snap ring. You could also take off the top of your transmission here. That's just 6 bolts. You have your 4, and then there's 2 up there that are easy to remove. But to remove this, all you have to do is just take your shift knob off, then this panel comes off with your boot and trim on it, and then there's 4 bolts to take this cover off, and then after that you're left with your actual lever still sticking in there and a snap ring that you can just squeeze together and the whole thing pulls out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that drain plug back in, and then I can begin filling it from inside the car here. It takes 2.5 quarts, so I'm going to fill them and then I'll be back. Alright, now the transmission fluid has been refilled up. I only spilt a little bit. I didn't use a funnel, so it's my own fault. I'm going to now drain the oil, because while it drains out, I'm going to go back into the car and put all that shift linkage back in, and that'll give it some time to drip out. So now I'm going to just change the oil real quick. Alright, so this drain bolt came out with just a 3/8 inch drive ratchet and nothing else, so that was nice. So it's currently leaking down now. You can see it's down to pretty much just a dribble now. The camera would focus on it. Come on. Alright, I'm not gonna obsess over it. You know what draining oil looks like. And then I found the filter over here, which if I can get a view of that, I will.
A few moments later.
Well, you get the point. But you can just reach your arm down here on the side of the intake manifold and just unscrew it. That is unheard of. It is so nice. Although I don't know who the hell designed it. I mean, I know it's swap in this car, but it was OEM at some point in Japan. And the filter is right over the engine cross member. So I have a feeling like I'm about to make a mess when I take this off. But other than that, it's pretty easy. So I'm going to take that off, and then I'm going to finish letting everything drip while I go put the shifter back in, like I said in the last clip. And I'm done. So I got the new filter on, which I don't think you're going to be able to see again. And all the oil's in, and coming around while I waited for that to drain, I put all the linkage back in for the shifter, so I just have to put a new shift knob on that. I have a new one waiting, and I have a new steering wheel to go in. I think I'm going to show that in the next clip. And that is it for now.